Hi, this is Pam. Um, Wanted to let you all know that I'm doing okay. Um, of course, this is no picnic. Um, there was a lot of needles this week, and I hate needles. And going through cancer, there's a lot of needles. This week there was so many needles, and it was hurtful and traumatic for me. It's a painful thing. This is probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to go through in my entire life. So I appreciate all of your prayers, and I ask that you keep praying for me. It helps me to just stay positive and to look on the bright side of this whole experience. One of the things that I wanted to let you know, one thing that you probably don't know about me, is that a few years back, I went back to school. Back in 2001, I decided that I wanted to go back to school. I just felt like I wanted to. There wasn't a particular reason or a particular need other than I just love learning and I love education. I never took math classes when I went to college before, and I just wanted to go and take math. I know that sounds bizarre. So I went over to Lone Star College and I took an assessment so they could figure out which math class to place me in, and I failed it, which was shocking to me because I always did very well in math when I was in high school, and I got a 28 on my math ACT. I knew math before, but that was a long time ago. So I said, forget it. I'm not going to go back to some remedial math class. Forget it. And so I walked away. And I thought about it for a few days. And I quickly got over it and quickly humbled myself. And I went back and I said, okay, I'll do this. And I signed up for the most basic remedial class that they even offered. And it took me 3 semesters of remedial math and intermediate algebra and pre-algebra. I had to take those classes and I got A's in it and I loved it. I know that sounds bizarre, but I absolutely loved it. And I felt like it was just a great refresher of stuff that I learned when I was in high school and even more than that. And I finally made it to college algebra, and I finally got to take the college algebra class, and I got an A in all of that, and I just loved it. I took trigonometry. I got an A in that class. At that time, I was going to North Harris College, and I got an award that year. That was in 2003. They awarded me for I got the best math student of the fall 2003, which, I just was happy about that. And then I got pregnant with Christopher, and so I stopped, and I stopped for a long time, up until 2017, when Hurricane Harvey came, and all the flooding and all the problems with Hurricane Harvey, and FEMA was here in town, and FEMA was advertising for some different job positions, and I saw that one of the job positions was a high-level administrative assistant position, which I was well qualified for. I was a perfect match for that job, and I interviewed for it, and I wanted that job. It would have been perfect. It paid very well, but I wasn't bilingual, and it really bothered me. I really wanted that job so bad. So I decided, okay, well, maybe it's time to go back to school again, and maybe I need to be bilingual. So I signed up for a Spanish class, and I just loved it. I loved it even more than the math classes that I took, and I just loved learning a second language. I took Spanish when I was in 7th grade, but that was many moons ago, and So I took the Spanish class. I got through it. It was very hard. It was probably harder than the algebra class. It was harder than the trigonometry class, in my opinion. And I got an A in the class, but I was going to work and I'd come home and study. And I'd have to practice a lot more than probably your typical 18-year-old because, I'm in my 50s. And, I guess my brain cells have slowed down a little bit. And so I had to study a little bit more. But that was okay. I love learning it. And then the fall of 2018, Lone Star College was advertising for this Promise Scholarship where you were given this scholarship, you're awarded the scholarship if you promised to give 15 hours of community service. So I signed up. I was awarded full tuition and all of my books and then some. Completely paid for my whole tuition as long as I went full time. And so I did. I signed up for more classes. I signed up for a geography class. And I just signed up for classes that I had an interest in. A history class. I signed up for a Texas history class, which I had never taken Texas history ever before because I always went to school when I was either in Virginia, when I lived in Virginia as a kid, and as a teenager I lived in Michigan, and so I never had to take Texas history, and I loved learning that. This past semester, spring 2019, I took another Spanish class, which was even harder than the first one, and I was pretty much going to work, coming home and studying, and I was having to practice a lot of Spanish, which I just loved. It was hard, but I loved it. And I got through it and I got an A. And so far, I have 49 credits that I've earned so far. I have a 3.98 grade point average. The only B that I got so far was in PE of all classes. I got a B in PE. And it's okay to laugh, ha 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 ha, I got a B in PE. But so far I'm doing very well. I just love it. I think I will just continue going to school until I die, just because I love learning. I love learning about all these things. I love learning geography. That was such an interesting class to me. I still can't consider myself bilingual. I just took 2 college-level Spanish classes. I really need to take 3 or 4 before I can truly consider myself bilingual. But I'll get there. I wanted to continue and finish in December, but now I have cancer. So it kind of put a kink in my educational goals. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. I really appreciate your prayers. Pray for me as I go through this dark time in my life with the cancer. Pray for me as I go through all the treatments, that the chemo is working. And pray for my attitude, that I stay positive and upbeat, and that I'll get to continue learning Spanish so that when I'm done and when I think that I'm bilingual, I can be competitive in the job market. Because, this is Houston, and, this is the melting pot of America, really. It truly is. And it would really help me career-wise if I could be bilingual. So I would appreciate your prayers that I can continue the path, my educational goals as soon as possible. I appreciate you praying for me again, and I thank you for listening. I will think I'll make more videos in the future, so keep watching for those. Thanks again. I love you all, and thank you for loving on me. Ciao.